Is your degree worthless now? Let me ask you something. Do you believe that your degree is still worth anything? Because we were told for decades that education was the golden ticket, the key, the secret code to success. Get good grades, get into college, get a good job. That was the lie. And now you've got a degree, a mountain of debt, and a job that barely covers your rent. And if you're lucky enough to even have a job. But let me tell you something I learned. Wisdom beats knowledge every single time. They say it's about skills now, but they still ask for a degree to prove it, even though AI can do everything that a textbook taught you, and none of what you actually do. The truth, they're stuck in an old system, still measuring people by papers instead of proof. Hey, I used to believe I wasn't smart, not because I failed, but because I didn't graduate. I became a mom at 16, and then I dropped out of high school. And for most of my life, I carried that like a scarlet letter. Why? Because society told me intelligence only came with credentials, that the smartest people were the ones who had the degrees, that I could work hard, but I'd always be less than because I didn't go to the right school, or really any school at all. And for a long time, I believed that. But you know what else I was doing? I was working hard. I was delivering. I was winning. And eventually I realized I was doing what they couldn't. They had the knowledge, but I had the wisdom. They could talk about strategy, but I could execute it, get it done. They had big words, but I had results. That's when I realized universities don't teach wisdom. They don't even teach leadership, or they won't even teach you communication or negotiation or how to run a team. They teach ideology, talking points, one layer deep tagline knowledge that crumbles the second you ask a deeper question. Try it sometime. Ask a young grad why they believe what they just said. Most don't even know. And when they're pushed to give you an answer, they fall back on righteous anger because they were trained to react, not reason. They teach them big words so that they can believe they sound smart, so they can throw those words around like weapons. They don't teach them to add value or really actually know something, and it goes deeper. They teach you to pity the criminal more than the victim, to elevate the drug addicted person while ignoring the hard-working high performer, to celebrate the homeless but resent the tax-paying parent trying to hold it all together. And that is not real compassion. That's conditioning. And you can't even blame them, because they've been raised in institutions that reward sameness, where professors are actually activists, where one viewpoint, imagine this, one viewpoint dominates everything. And now, us ordinary hardworking people are waking up. Us parents are questioning. Graduates are becoming more demanding because now we know the truth. The workplaces aren't changing and the universities aren't evolving because it's the right thing to do. It's because just like any animal about to go extinct, they're clinging to the last scraps of their power, the last vestiges of what was once considered prestigious, required. And even as they know that AI can answer every textbook question, they're still acting like memorizing facts means you're qualified. But let's get real. Book smarts, they're replaceable by AI. It's the human skills that actually build something, the real world wisdom that gets results. And that's where us builders win. My 3 truths. Listen, education is no longer the gatekeeper. Results are. This world is changing. And soon, universities and corporations will be forced to release their grip on the thing they've used to gatekeep for decades, the degree. Unless you're doing surgery or maybe building planes, that piece of paper is becoming irrelevant. The era of obnoxious, self-glorifying professors training kids to parrot headlines is almost over. And so is the damage they've done. We are moving into a new world that hires based on results, not paper. Nobody's impressed by your degree if you can't ever get the job done, because now we have AI. Now we all have access. And knowledge alone, not rare anymore. But what is rare? Wisdom. Number 2, wisdom is earned. Wisdom is not what you memorized. It's what you've survived, what you have delivered. It's the real world problems that you alone have solved that never showed up on a final exam. Wisdom is what kicks in when everything falls apart and you still find a way to win. No excuses, no safe rooms, no savior bosses, and for sure no damn ping pong table required. That's human intelligence. That's who you are, and that's the new pedigree. You know, I discovered this by accident because I was always told, Tammy, you don't have the right credentials. But the one thing they could never deny was my results. They couldn't ignore that I always delivered, that I always won. And that edge, it built my career. I didn't just read about success in a book, I created it. And that kind of wisdom can't be automated. Number 3, the most valuable skill that you can earn now is human intelligence, not textbook recall. Real human skills. The skills to read a room, to lead a team, to navigate conflict, to solve without all this damn drama, to think clearly, to speak powerfully, to own your value and believe in yourself, and to deliver under pressure. AI can't do that. And universities didn't teach that. But the workplace, it's starving for it. And the ones who master it, they will be the new power class. The builders, the fixers, the people who always win. My final word. You're not uneducated. You've been undervalued. Because wisdom doesn't come with a tassel, and it certainly doesn't hang on a wall. It lives in your results, in the work you've done that no one saw or recognized, in all the problems you've solved without a manual, without a book, in the teams you've carried and the slack that you've picked up without ever asking for credit. That's not ordinary. That's power. And the world is finally being forced to see it. If the value of a degree is dropping, and it is, it's because the system ran out of lies. Because real results always rise. You don't need a piece of paper to know your worth. And you certainly don't need more letters after your name as a signal, a beacon that you can win. What you need is stop forgetting what you already know about who you are, because you are the one that's been holding the place together. You're not less than, you are more than they can handle. You're the builder, and silence is no longer an option. It's time to take the workplace back again.